And namaste, everybody. Bruce here from rootsoflife.org. One question that seems to pop up every once and again, it seems like I'm answering this question maybe every 2 weeks or so from a Reiki perspective, is do you need permission to send people Reiki via distance, right? So I really wanted to make a video on this to try to give my thoughts on it, and I hope maybe that this video will help others in their understanding and practice of Reiki. It's not to say that this is the facts. There are no facts, as it were, with Reiki, right? Because it's an experiential process. But I think we can surrender into the ideas that I'm going to put forward here, and maybe it'll help to loosen our practice so that we can just dive a little bit deeper into it. Reiki is the energy of the universe, right? That's literally what Reiki means. It means universal life force or universal energy. So it's the energy shared by all things, not just people, but this computer, the microphone, the light, everything in the universe, inanimate and animate, has the same energy moving through it, right? So this energy creates and sustains life because we're alive, right? Every system in the universe, coincidentally or not, is able to support life in some way or another. We haven't seen it out, externally in the universe, but because the Earth exists, that means that the universe is capable, at least to some degree, of supporting life, right? This is what I mean by this. So that means reflexively that Reiki is the energy of life. Now, if that's the case, and if Reiki is the energy of life, then it's not a huge jump to understand Reiki as the energy of love. This is why we hold the Gassho at heart center, to feel into the flow of love from our heart, right? That doesn't mean the flow of love to something in particular, although it could. In reality, it just means I'm going to feel and experience love. That's it. Not to any one thing or a group of things or myself or whatever, just being in the flow of the energy of love. So if we approach Reiki from that perspective, then why would anybody ever need to ask permission, right? If you simply surrender into the practice of Reiki, not from an egotistical perspective or from a dualistic perspective or from a perspective of force, meaning I'm going to give Reiki to this person so they can release this thing that they're dealing with. There's a lot of I's in that statement. There's a lot of ego in that, right? Maybe they need to go through this. Maybe they need to fall down so they can get back up on their own 2 feet again into a new understanding of their own trajectory. This is how we all evolve. So who am I to say that I'm going to stop that journey for somebody else, right? So the practice of Reiki then, by distance or giving it to other people or whatever, is simply turning into love. It's turning into the flow of that energy. That's it. So, if I was to call up somebody and say, hey, listen, I'm just thinking about giving some Reiki to you. Can I do this? Can I sit and, send you energy or whatever? They would be like, yeah, well, I don't, yeah, why did you call me? That's fine. I don't really care. Thank you, but you didn't need to call me for that. No, of course not. We can simply do it. We can simply sit in the practice. Now, I would take that one step even further, right? Is that if I'm going to send Reiki to somebody via distance, right? And if you're wondering how Reiki can be sent via distance, it can be sent because it connects everything. It's the universal energy. So we just have to tap into it. This is the same way how twins around, on opposite sides of the earth can feel when each other are hurt. It's a very common occurrence. It's a very simple explanation to that. So if I'm going to sit down and send Reiki to somebody, that's creating a duality. That's saying, I have something that I'm going to give to somebody else. We are all universal energy. So how can I give you something that you already are? That doesn't make sense, right? So what we can actually do in our practice of sending Reiki, and I think this helps to explain why we don't need to ask permission, is I can simply turn inward from Gassho, and then maybe, the opening meditations of Usui Reiki RYŌHŌ, or whatever you practice. I can still my mind and I can quiet my body. And then I can simply turn into the flow of that energy. I can feel it through my body. And if I can recognize that that energy in my body is no different than any other energy in this entire universe, then by feeling content and quiet and loving and kind inside my body, then reflexively everybody is getting that same experience because it's the same energy, right? So we can hold space within ourselves to hold space for others. So when I'm giving a distance session, I quiet my mind and I quiet my body first. And if somebody is asking me to sit with them in Reiki, then once quiet, I might chant their name or think about what they look like or whatever to establish kind of a mental connection. And then I simply release. Simply go into the body and relax. Relax that internal environment so everything can flow, right? We don't need to ask permission because we are touching the thing that streams through all of us, right? That can't possibly harm anybody because it's the energy of all of us. So we can simply turn into Reiki and allow it to flow. Now that's a very, very different practice than an egotistical practice, right? If I was to turn into somebody, turn into my own energy and think about, I'm going to heal this person or I'm going to do this to them or I want more money or I want this, that, whatever, then the ego is dictating what's happening and that's going to make resistance, right? Ill will, like sometimes people will ask me, like, can Reiki harm other people? Can the sending distance Reiki, can you put curses and black magic and stuff on people? I don't understand how that would even exist. Like, if we are working with the energy of the entire universe, then the only thing that you can do is curse yourself, right? Like, I can harm myself, but I'm not harming the energy of the universe. I'm harming the vehicle or the vessel that contains that energy, right? When I die, the energy is released from this vessel. So if I'm, wishing ill will on other people, or if I'm, putting a curse on people or whatever, then I'm actually just harming myself because I'm harming the vessel that contains or that is the conduit of this universal energy. So I can't see how that it's possible to put curses on other people or any wish ill on other people and that type of stuff. If you believe that that's happening, then you in turn are modifying your own vessel, right? You're creating a duality within yourself. This person cursed me, that's why this negative thing happened. You're creating a story, right? All of that stuff is egotistical. And maybe some of you, don't agree, or maybe it just creates a little bit of friction. But in all of that practice, the simple question here is ask yourself, who is doing the thing? If you answer that by saying I or they, any type of, egotistical pronoun, then we haven't surrendered into the flow of Reiki, and we're not giving distance Reiki, or we're not sitting with the flow of the universe, right? When we surrender to the flow of the universe, we float with all beings, with everything in existence. That's as pure as Reiki can get, and that doesn't need permission. All right, everybody, I hope that helps. Namaste, and be well. Thanks so much.